Good morning, everyone. Mic check, sound check. Excellent. Thanks, Large Void. Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, May 1st, 2026. Welcome to the Pitbull Traders Morning Game Plan. I'm your host, Manny. The purpose of this show is simple: live futures trading, real-time technical analysis, and actionable setups, all with the focus on trader education and the mindset designed to drive consistent profitability. Every morning we come in with one goal: to build out the structure before the open so we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces, not guessing, not chasing. All right, so let's map it out. We're going to jump right into the higher time frame really quickly. So you can see here, price is breaking out of this larger balance that we established for a week. Last week, we were in balance for most of the week. And on Monday, we attempted a breakout. We failed. We came back into range. The market was waiting on FOMC. The market was waiting on earnings. It got what it was waiting for. AI is exploding, and the market is pushing higher. We're in blue sky territories up here, uncharted territory. So really quickly, the first thing on the higher time frame that we want to key in, I drew out these trend lines here because, once you get this high, it's really hard to find any structure to trade up against that's above you. So resistance points become non-existent. And so I'm just trying to get an idea for, mini or micro structures that might cause price to stall. I just want to get an idea for long trades where I might run into trouble. All right. So right here, building off the daily chart, immediately what we notice, right, is that we have this breakout of balance. So we're breaking out of, we had this is a 4-hour chart we're looking at, higher time frame. This is where we always want to start off every morning to give us a bigger picture perspective, right? So we're operating in alignment with the day's dominant forces. All right. So immediately we can sell here, right? It's very easy, very visual. Pattern recognition is really useful when we're trading. And you can see here, we're breaking out of this balance. We had a balance that started on April 17th. We attempted a breakout on Monday. It failed. It came back into range, found support in the prior week's value area, and now bull showed up again, positive earnings. It's off to the races. We're calling this the Artemis rally because it's just been bonkers how strong the market has been. And you're going to find all types of narratives that point to, the market's rallying on good news or on good earnings. They always try to frame things. Pretty much the rule of thumb that I go by, whatever's in the news is probably not it. And I think what we're seeing here is, while there were a lot of bearish bets being placed in this balance area last week, and of course they got squeezed. Anyway, so let's move on. So here, what we're going to monitor is the prior all-time high, which was made in Globex, 72.23 quarter. We want to make sure that we have that number on our radar on any liquidation break for any possible support or where buyers might show up, right? So we have this high here that was made on the 17th, which was 71.81. We also have the prior all-time high, which was made during the Globex session at 72.23 quarter, okay? So these possible supports on any liquidation breaks, we'll need to have those on our radar, as well as this one here. All right, with that being said, let's dig into it. Let's get a little bit more granular and see where we want to trade up against today. And let's drill down to the 15-minute chart. So the first thing that jumps out at me, the first question we always ask ourselves as we come into the open is, what is the condition of the overnight inventory? And to assess that, what we do is we just look at how much of the overnight action was above or below the settlement. And for today, that is really, really easy because you can see that we just flagged all night long, didn't really go anywhere, but we're just consolidating at highs, right? And we're going to go into a couple of For in today's show, we're going to bring on Rich, who's our resident quant. Rich has tons of great stats. He's a programmer, and he's going to make an argument for why for a statistical argument for the bullish move. But anyway, let's continue. Let's get a little bit more in tune on what we want to see today and where we would trade from. All right, so bullish consolidation. The overnight inventory is 100% long. All of the last night's action, we did not even test the settlement, which is at 72.4375. Our overnight low has come in. Oh, I should have this in here. Let's see. 72.46 quarter is the overnight low. All right. So we'll always have that marked off on our trade because that is an excellent day time frame reference. It also helps us a lot with our 96% statistical trade. Okay, so currently the overnight high is 72 is, gotta stretch this out too, 72.71.50, and we know that the overnight inventory is 100% net long. The overnight low is coming in at 72.4650, which is a few points over the overnight high. Okay, so with the condition of the overnight inventory being 100% net long, we have to be on alert for any liquidation breaks. With as bullish as the market has been since Wednesday's earnings, since Wednesday's FOMC news, right? We also have to make the argument for an open drive, a bullish move higher, and we're going to map that out now. So coming into it, if we open at 72, we're trading 72.65. We always assume we're going to open where what current price we're trading. If we open at 72.65, immediately what we're going to do, and we rally higher, open drive type look, bullish environment, and we bust through the overnight high at 72.7150. At that point, what we're going to do is we're going to mark off these two levels, right? So obviously, we always look at the overnight high as well as this pivot high that was made in the early portion of last night's session, 72.6350 for any supports on pullbacks. So if we get a rally higher that gets above the overnight high and that then retraces, we're going to be looking for bullish entries. We're looking for long entries at support of the overnight high, possibly even go as low as 72.60. And then we're going to look for consolidation, and we're going to look for bullish entries. We're going to look for long entries that get us into long trades targeting above the overnight high and further. Who knows how high we can go. We have this trend line marked off on our higher time frame, but that trend line doesn't come in until 73.23. So yeah, let's just be mindful that, you know, upside targets are hard to come by here. All right, with that being said, so let's be alert for an open drive that gets us higher over the overnight high and then we can look for acceptance above the overnight high or consolidation, something similar to what we are seeing here, right? Acceptance above, this is acceptance above yesterday's high. Okay, if we look for long entries against these supports outlined earlier, right? We'll look for bullish open, pull back to the overnight high, potentially even maybe we go back in to 72.6350, and then we'll look for long entries that get us higher with taking our scales along the way. Okay? That's the most bullish argument. All right, so we always like to cover, you know, we're very in tune with how the ES like trade. So we always cover the trap trade, right? So say we open here 72.6450 and we look above the overnight high and then immediately come back in to the overnight range, and the overnight high fails to hold a support. And in the same case, we get below 72.6350. At that point, we would be looking at a move that gets us below there. And then we could consider any type of entry for short scalps that get us down with our risk marker being the overnight high or 72.6350. And then we can look for short scalps that get us down back into the settlement price at 72.4375 for a gap fill. right? And we always have to be on alert for a gap fill that kind of makes sense when you're up here. And also, we know that when the overnight inventory is leaning one way strongly, like it is today, 100% long, there's frequently a counter trend move to reset that overnight inventory. And then at that point, we can reassess what price looks like once it fills the gap at 72.43.50. All right. So that covers the most bullish argument. That also covers the bullish trap trade. Okay. Let me just get a quick screenshot of this and we'll move on to better. I kind of like this scenario next that I'm going to outline. Hang tight. Okay. Cover that. All right. So say we know this is our support right here, potential support. Okay. So say we open here at 72.65.50 and we get a bearish open similar to what we did yesterday, right? Liquidation break just off the open. We're immediately what we're going to focus in our attention on is on the settlement price at 72.43, which is also in alignment with yesterday's volume point of control at 72.44.50. So we'll have an excellent marker to look for support. At that point, we'll gauge the tone of the price action, and what we're looking for is potentially a move below that traps some shorts. Maybe we push a little bit lower like we did yesterday, and then comes back into the overnight range, breaks above the local high. At that point, we could look for long trades and target the overnight high, with our entry being somewhere on the break of this lower high. Okay? That's very similar to what we saw yesterday and we outlined pre-market. I think that trade makes a lot of sense, but say that's not the scenario that works out. We always want to have a robust approach, multiple different plans for, and that take into consideration, how price can move throughout the day. All right, so let me grab that and then we will move on. Trying to move quickly here because I know Rich, our quant, wants to come in here and share some statistics with us. So let me get through this as fast as can. All right, so we covered the support at yesterday's range. Liquidation break resets the overnight inventory, but fails to gain any traction below yesterday's settlement. Say we do get below the settlement, right? And price demonstrates an inability to reclaim the overnight range or find acceptance back within. At that point, we could look for short scalps below the settlement with our backs up against yesterday's high, 72.51.50. And then we can consider a potential short entry that gets us down to yesterday's value area. Value area high yesterday was 72.1875. Remember that the value area is the value. We always have each day we have a value area zone, which is where 70% of the prior day volume transacted. So yesterday's value area high, the top end of that range is 72.1875. The lower portion of that range is down by yesterday's low at 71.658. All right, so if we were unable to gain any traction within the overnight range, then we could look for short entries, right, on breaks of prior lows, or maybe even take a low risk entry on the inability to gain traction above yesterday's high and the settlement. We can look for liquidation breaks that get us with entries on breaks of new lows, or entries. We can take an entry here, or we can enter here on the break, which is a little bit more risky. So you have to be a little bit quicker on the draw for that one. And then we're looking for a move down to, so we'd be entering around 72.40. We'd be looking for an entry that gets us down to 72.18 value area high. At that point, we can reassess what the price action looks like. We'll have a ton of scales going out and we'll monitor the runner, see if it has legs. All right, so we covered the move lower that kind of finds support at yesterday. We reset the overnight inventory, but we find support in yesterday's upper distribution. And we also covered what it would look like if we get a stronger liquidation break that gets below this balance area from yesterday. And at that point, we can look for short trades that get it down to value area high and monitor the runner for continuation. Okay. If we get back in yesterday's range, if we get back into yesterday's value area and price demonstrates acceptance, well, then the value area rule comes into play, right? So we know that if price gets back into value and prints and stays there, shows it demonstrates acceptance for more than two TPO periods, so that's an hour, then we can assert that, hey, we're probably going to make a move down into value area low. All right, so that covers the most bullish argument. That covers the most bearish argument. Really quickly, I just want to highlight, if I was watching, I probably don't know how much I would be really factoring in, but each day we're coming out, I go review what I've said in the morning, I take the screenshots and I'm reviewing what I said. And if you followed along this week, if you were watching and you paid attention, you understand what the value in that was. I mean, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, we gave each of the 4 or 5 scenarios, we gave one of them played out and produced a nice trade. So let's monitor the open here. Remember, we always use the opening print as kind of our gauge for early morning price action. We opened in Globex at 72.56, and now we're opening gapped higher at 72.64.50. All right, so that's where the rubber meets the road. We kind of have our higher time frame analysis, and we have our potential trade ideas going into the open. All right, let me see if I can get Rich come on here and share what he's got. Hang tight. Yeah, guys, take heed of what we're saying here, because yesterday's trades worked out. I mean, each day when I'm reviewing these trades are working out really, really well. I think it paid. All right, looks like we're in that move to test value area high. Let's see what happens here. Okay, prices out. We're getting that opening drive type look higher. So let's monitor the overnight high, 72.71.50. Hey, Rick, we're ready when you are. Yeah, please. I'll introduce you now, and then just put your screen up. We'll share that with everybody. Thanks. Bye. Good news. So Rich is coming in to join us in just a few minutes, so hang tight for that. And just a little bit about Rich. Rich is an excellent resource because Rich's approach is different. While we mostly focus on technical analysis, Rich has a quantitative approach. So he's sharing his perspective from his approach, I should say, is more of a quant-based approach. So let's look out for that. Let's get Rich in here. Let's put his screen up. And remember, monitor. Look, we're trading the overnight high, so stay alert up here, and let's see what Rich has to share. Hey, Rich, are you there? Okay. There he is. Cool. Let me stop. Let me get this up. Okay. Rich, your mic is. Let me just get Rich's attention.
Good morning. Now, can you hear me? I got my mic on.
Yeah, thanks, Rich.
Oh,
So which chart should we start off with, Rich? With the Excel or with the price chart?
I had my speakers on. You hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Can you? Do you want?
Good morning. So, guys, just
okay, gotcha. Yeah.
introduce
Thank you.
Rich.
Hey guys, I'm Rich with Handle Stats, and this I'm sharing this one screen here that I'm sharing is the NDX SPX impact. You see that little that window, and what that is the top 15 stocks in the NDX and what they are contributing to the index. Right now, you can see that the NASDAQ is up 141. Those stocks are actually up 207. There's some stocks that are down, which obviously make the NASDAQ not up the whole 204 that this is showing right here. And they're contributing 25, almost 26 points to the ES, and the ES is up 32. So that's those top 15 stocks, and that's all that is. And that's really helpful pre-market and post-market to see what those big stocks are doing, especially on earning days, and especially on, when the during the time that Globex is closed from like 5 to 6 o'clock. I run this, and it's helpful to see what the impact is of the stocks that are trading when Globex is off. Anyway, and I do time fractals along. I think time is just as important as price, and sometimes even more important. So I do standard deviation levels. I use the options pricing model, and with a few modifications and implied volatilities to give me one standard deviation moves, and 2 and 3. So these are moves that the market has to react to. And so they're dynamic in that they change every day with implied volatility. They change with the price inputs. So and they actually work out really, really well. I mean, there's a lot of times when we get to those and they stop there, or they hesitate, or they reverse. But there's definitely almost always a reaction there, unless something really, really unique is happening. Let's go here. So right now, I'm actually looking for the market to just rally today, because it broke out of some price levels that I had earlier established. I don't think that we're going to go back and retrace. I said in my room that I doubted that the gap would fill in the S&P. I thought it might in the NASDAQ. It doesn't appear that that's going to happen either. So let's go here and look at this right now. So it's surprising, probably to most people, to know, and I have the stats on this, that about it's about 25% of the time the high or the low of the day is established in the first 5 minutes. And it's roughly equal. It's a little bit more. The low is established. It's like 13% and 12%. So that first 5 minutes is really important, and I use a 25-minute opening range to see what else is taking place, because a lot of times if it's a trend day, you'll know after the first 25 minutes, especially if you get a setup like this where right now it looks like the opening, that first 5 minutes, if that holds, and that's the low in the first 25 minutes, it would probably be the low for the day. Let's go look at the NAS real quick. Let's see what the NAS is doing. NAS is pretty much the same way right now. The NAS did not go down and take out the settlement. And let's exit out of there, edit, X that. So it looks like we're just taking off. And Intel, my favorite stock, is really taking off here. So I'm kind of excited about that.
So, Rich, yesterday you were sharing with me your thoughts
this is really ramping up here. I have
Rich,
really
can you hear me?
high price objectives for the Nasdaq and the ES right now, because I think the ES I'm going to have. Hold on a second. Let me get this done.
Hey, you don't have my mic turned on, so you can't hear me. Yeah, we're on. We have 200 people watching, and they're kind of they can't hear us conversing. So can you just make sure that you can hear me talk? All right. So I have to get back on, but you just have to put me on green. All right. So if you can't hear me, then something's amiss. But we can't have a show if you can't talk to each other. All right. All right. But mute your mic while we're having this discussion. We're broadcasting on YouTube, on all social media, 200 people. Please. You have to mute your mic, Rich. All right. Go ahead. You know what? Just finish what you're going through, and then I'll take over. I have to get back on camera. I can't have this conversation on the show. All right. I gotta get back. I have to get. We'll cover this. We'll cover this. I have to get back on. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Let's make sure that we have the right screen share up. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we're back. So here, yeah. So look, we're testing above the overnight high, and blue sky territories up here. We just pulled back somewhat to 72.71, but this is pretty bullish consolidation. Let's make sure we stay alert up here above the overnight high. But we just pulled back to the overnight. We just pulled back to 72.71, which was the overnight high. And on the first test, we found some buyers. So stay alert here. We all know how much ES loves to trap, right? Guys, we also have David coming on the show today, so heads up, look out for that. I'm going to bring him on shortly. He's David's from PTG. We all know, if you guys like the algorithms that I use online on the stream, David is the author of those, and he's going to come on and talk a little bit about that. Okay. really quickly. All right, so we printed a 15-minute bar close above the overnight high. Let's watch here for any pullback to 72, 71.50. And let's see, let's gauge the order flow, see if we can find support there. Let's see. This is where the rubber meets the road, guys. Stay alert.
Hey, good morning, Manny.
Hey, there he is. Welcome to the show, David. Thanks for joining us today.
Manny, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
It looks like your camera's frozen. Hold on, let me restart. Good point.
All right, let's see. We're trading 72, 71.50. This is the overnight high. Stay alert right here, guys. Like we said, this is where the rubber meets the road. Hey, David, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right, thank you
Thanks for
for
joining in today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I see Rich's stuff up there. Great. Always good,
Yep.
always
Let's
good,
see.
always good stuff.
Yeah, Rich had some pretty good statistical stuff to share. I'm not really sure he got through it all in a concise way that can help the folks that are watching, but I'll make sure that Rich is better prepared for his next appearance for sure.
Yeah, so we were just talking on our side over here, just again, kind of like a broken record, for the most part, kind of even though we're at, again, more all-time highs, just staying in alignment. There's not much more that we can do, for those out there that are, you know, kind of perma bears that are, looking looking for some evidence of to get on board the short side. There just doesn't seem to be. We're also mentioning that these money managers that continue to be underinvested. I mean, we saw, what was it, a large buy, this a lot of buy market on close buy imbalances this month, and again, that just kind of shows that they are very aggressive. They have a pretty large still cash position that they got to put that money to work. So unless something new negative stuff happens overseas, but right now it doesn't seem to be that way anyway. So they just, and the earnings have been coming out very strong, and so they got to put that money to work. So yeah, just kind of continue, grinding it higher. I haven't spoken to the short side. I don't last time. I can't remember last time we were kind of focusing on the short trades. So and
Yeah,
today,
so it's a solid
today,
approach.
yeah, and today's the cycle day 3. Obviously, another real good positive cycle. The statistic now on that cycle day 3, and what is the statistic measure? It measures uh, price at or above the cycle day 1 low price point on cycle day 3. So we're on cycle day 3. The cycle day low for this cycle is down at 71.31. So here we are at 72.73. So very strong cycle. And that statistic, by the way, kind of a little factoid here, which many don't really understand or are unfamiliar with. But that statistic, that means price is above the cycle day one low on cycle day three, stands currently, this is a 15-year historical tracking, at 92.52%. That's just
Wow.
a, it's just an amazing, and again, that's just a testament that the core lean of the 3-day cycle anyways is biased to the long side because it's following the market activity. And,
Right.
and the market generally is a long biased, animal. So yeah, so very, very good.
Yeah, and there's few places can you really catch a statistic, in the 90%, right? Like I only know of two of them, and and I think that's and that's over. I know of two of them, and that's over the course of my entire career, right? Scrubbing stuff and always looking for an edge. I've only ever been able to come up with two stats that have been in the 90 percentile, and the 3-day cycle is obviously one of them. It's such a strong tool to know and to use. I've been a day. I knew a little bit about it prior to knowing David. I came to know David really well about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and he was kind of he was really the one who explained it to me and more importantly taught me how to trade it, right? Because you can know a lot of things, but how do you trade it, right? That's really where the rubber meets the road. And so yeah, David is really, really good about the 3-day cycle, and I'm always referencing him. Strong tool.
What I find amazing is how many people out there in the world, at least in the futures side here, and I've of course been tracking this for 15 years myself. Um, I originally learned it when I was a market maker back in the day when I was working for the investment banks, though I didn't employ it at the time because that wasn't my job, function of my job, so it didn't really matter to me. But I did learn it originally. At least I became acquainted about it. It's called really. It's called, but just it's basically a 3-day cycle pattern, and I learned that when I was a market maker, but from an institutional player, and that they used it back then, as part of their kind of overall methodology. It's kind of one facet of their methodology, trading methodology, investing methodology, and there are a number of higher profile, only a few higher profile traders out there. I'm not going to mention their names. You can research it, but that also use the 3-day cycle. But what I find interesting is the general kind of trading community, if you will, kind of the retail idea side of it, um, has no clue about the 3-day cycle, and they typically are all involved with Fibonacci's, and that's great. I learned Fibonacci's when I was young in my years as well, and it has a place. But what I find with the comparison of Fibonacci's versus the Taylor 3-day cycle is Fibonacci's are all measurements, right? And so in being that they're measurements, they are subjected to the user how they measure swings and so forth. Now there are some standard ways of doing that, but it's really up to the end user of how they measure. Whereas, and so it's an estimate for the most part. Like we're at highs. So you can measure extensions right now, Fibonacci extensions, but what are they? They're actually just estimates. There's no real trading there that yet has occurred. Or if you're looking for, a measured retracement, 61% or so forth, and there's nothing trading there. So it's again still another, future measurement. Whereas when you compare that to the Taylor technique 3-day cycle, the levels and the targets that are generated from that are actually based upon historical trades and activity that has occurred at those levels. So they are actually observed data points
Mm.
versus estimated data points. Well, to me, it's like, what would you find? What would you think that would be more effective? An estimate or something that was already trafficked? So to me, that's kind of the real core difference is, that these Taylor targets and measurements are actually based upon real life historical data points. So, both have their place, but I find actually Taylor to be super, super accurate. I mean, to the effect of, 92.5%. And a lot of people do not believe that. I have verifiable statistics on that we've tracked for better part of 15 years now. So, but we
Wow.
use it as part of our core methodology. And, if anybody out there is interested and want to learn more about the Taylor 3-day cycle, you just visit the Polaris Trading Group site, and we have some free information about it, as well as some products that we use on an active basis. So
Yeah, that's like I was mentioning earlier, that's a fantastic tool, and I use it every day as part of my, another tool in the toolbox, right? We always want to have multiple. There's in trading, we all know how trading is, right? There's no secret sauce. There's no uh, there's no holy grail, right? Well, what there is what you can amass over time is a set of tools, right? So any mechanic or carpenter, right, has multiple different tools because he's going to need different approaches, and trading is no different, right? You need different tools. Even if you're working, in an office job, you have Excel, you have your computer, you have different tools to help you get the job done, and trading is no different. And the Taylor cycle is an excellent tool to have in your toolbox. When you combine, like I do, like I combine, the PTG algorithms with my execution clock, with my setups, and also being aware of the Taylor cycle. It's I can't explain how helpful that is. It just really drives it home. It really gets it really helps me place good trades with statistical odds, and it helps with it helps with like the all the other things, all the other challenges surrounding trading, right? So it helps me with patience. It helps me with discipline because I know that if I wait for a certain time, or if I'm in a certain part of the cycle, there's a higher probability of one thing happening than the other. Then it just like, and I'm here to make money. I know how to make money and extract it. I know what the high probability setups are, and those are the ones that I want to stick to. For the folks watching on socials, on YouTube, do us a favor, smash that like button, and also if you're interested in more, go ahead and check out pitbulltraders.com. Also, you can visit Polaris Trading Group. This is just so bullish, guys. There was one thing I wanted to share with you so yesterday, right? So when you're this bullish, guys, when the tape is just this strong, you're gonna find a bunch of different reasons. I kind of spoke to that about the pre-market prep, right? That you're gonna find if earnings was whatever. Look, we were the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. There's so much uncertainty in the geopolitical landscape, and we're up probably even more than 13% right now from the low, right? And what does that go to tell you? It geopolitics and what's going on in the world do not matter. What matters is money, right? That's what people are chasing, and that's the only thing that matters. So once you understand that a little bit more clearly, you understand that the news is noise. They have to print something, but that if you understand flows, if you understand technical analysis, and you tune out the noise, then you're going to be way better off, and you're going to be able to execute in alignment with the dominant forces, right? So I'm sure that there were a lot of people, shorting this rally all the way up, and that's why we kept bleeding higher, because they were probably thinking, oh, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Look at where oil is. It doesn't matter, guys. Look, find the tools, find the flows, find the technical analysis. Price, big money leaves clues. It cannot operate without leaving those clues. And you got to pick up those breadcrumbs along the way and follow that. I tend to scan the news after the day, but I feel like the news comes out, and if it's relevant or not, I'll see it in price. So we have a gap and go here. We no pullback, no attempt at a gap fill. It's just blue sky territory, moving higher, and let's go. All on board with this. I took that trade that we discussed in the pre-market. We discussed a pullback to the overnight high, and then we were going to judge if the pullback would hold, if it was solid. And I took that trade right there at that point at 72.71. I got a 5-point scale, a 10-point scale, a 15-point, and now I'm just sitting in a runner. And that's it. I'm done for today. Like, it's Friday. I've already done well. I'm not going to fall into the trap of trying to trade multiple accounts, or, oh my God, the market's rallying, let me jump in. Nah, I'm good. I'll wait. If we get a solid pullback, maybe there'll be something later on this morning or potentially in the afternoon. On days like this, I can't, it's so useful to have the auto trade assistant. That's definitely edge, because my point and click trades are based on one system, but then I can just let the algorithms do the heavy lifting for me on trend days like this. They work awesome. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a trend day. It's always hard to tell, right? But thus far, that seems like what is underway here. Reverie says, yeah, I'd love to know how much all the people trying to rage short this ES are actually the ones helping fuel it. I mean, it's pretty evident, right? Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing. And, again, I'm not trying this, I'm not being braggadocious, right? But on March 30th, I penned an article for the opening print, right? ES was trading 6,400. And I knew that I had that article in my back pocket for like a week. And I knew that it would be a good time to post it because everybody was looking down. ES was trading 6,400. And I made the case for 7,450 to 7,500 being a target. And I did get some blowback on it. Fine, that was expected. It was expected, but you can go find that article. It's on MrTopStep.com. The opening print. Click on there. You'll find it. It was I think it was published on exactly that Monday. So hang on. Yep, March 30th. I knew I'd get some flack for it, but that's when you want to do it if you have conviction, right? All right, we're seeing a little bit of a pullback here. Let's be mindful. Let's be cautious here on initiating any trades. But bullish entries or bullish probing trades are authorized, as David would like to say.
Yeah, Manny, I just heard that. Yeah, yeah. Probing is always authorized. That's one of the things that I always say in our community. But in terms of probing, the caveat is it's best to probe always in alignment, rather than trying to probe to pick a high or pick a low.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really bullish. We just pulled back a few points and back up again. It's going to be hard to, this is a day that, which, you just don't want to get caught on the wrong side of it. So stay in alignment. Monitoring this closely here for an exit on the runner. Yesterday was a test, right? For at least for me, it was, because on what was it, Tuesday, I was talking to David after hours, and on Tuesday I had a really shitty day, right? I could not do anything right. Everything that typically works wasn't, and by the end of the day, I was taking signals that if I was positive on the day, I would never have taken. And that's happened to all of us, right? Right when we need to exercise the most caution on drawdowns, you kind of toss that out the window. But like everybody else, I'm human. And I probably didn't help things much. Anyhow, but then I came back yesterday, I kind of cleared my head and came back yesterday and had, this happens to me so often, right? I have a really crappy day, drawdown, can't do anything right. And then it's almost like clockwork. The next day I come in and yesterday I just knocked it out of the park, right? Everything I could do no wrong. And I was, and I was being aggressive. So I made back Tuesday's loss. Sorry, I made back Wednesday's loss on Thursday, plus 50%. And I attribute that to staying grounded, staying focused. But gosh, and the lesson there for me is that it's never as bad as it feels or it seems in the moment. Right? There's always tomorrow. Not You always have another chance. So the important part for me is to just not how can I say, not unravel, because tomorrow is another day. And typically, I can't tell you how many times I've lost $1,000, lost $2,000, and then the next day I look at my statement and I was like, wow, oh, the next day I got it right back, and some. And so knowing that that's a pattern, I've seen it in my statistics. I've grown less. I have less harsh bad days, because I just kind of like toss in the towel. Wednesday was not one of those. I didn't react well. Fully admit that, but that's part of this. I think that that's part of this. Again, for you folks watching, if you have any comments, please drop a comment. Let us know how we can. We just started streaming consistently about 2 weeks ago. Let us know how we can add more value to you, how we can improve the show. If there's anything that you would like to see, we're going to create a little bit more structure around the show, and we're also going to have a better uh, share, or better display the tools that we're sharing on a daily basis with the stuff that you guys can tune into, because it's not just about me sitting here and talking tape and calling out the setups. It's really more about, like, like David was saying, the tools we have, and sharing those to add value, to help you make more money. That's the bottom line of this. That's really why I'm doing this. I think I can help people make money. All right, just pushing higher here. Uh-oh. Seems like I'm frozen here. Crap. Oh, shit. Yep, I'm definitely frozen. Dang it.
Manny, I think Stuart here has a question if you didn't see it.
Yeah, sure. Hang on. Just hang
Yeah.
tight 1 second, Stu. I'll get right to you. Let me just trying to got some tech issues here. Oh, okay. So Stuart asks, what time did you enter? All right, good question. Let's see. That's a great question. Hang on, Stu, because my Ninja Trader platform, I share the Thinkorswim, just because it looks cleaner on screen. But I had to relaunch it, so just hang tight. I can give you that exact time.
Hello, Manny. Can you hear me now?
Hey, Rich, how are you?
I'm good. I think I got this figured out. I'm struggling to figure out how to use all this stuff, but anyway,
Okay.
I think I got it now, and I can hear you, and I got this all
Awesome.
hooked up. And I also have I have some monthly stats for May if you want me to share them.
Yeah, which is that the Excel sheet? You want me to share that chart?
Well, actually, let me bring them up here real quick because I'll put them right here on this page. So you probably see them now on my I'm showing it on my full screen on that H screen. Do you see that now?
Hang tight. Is that the Excel sheet or your chart screen?
Yeah. See, it says my monthly conditional formatting data.
All right, I can't. Is it the Excel sheet or your chart screen?
No, it's the Excel sheet. Well, it's on. I put it on my chart page. I covered up my charts with this Excel sheet. Do you see it now?
I got it. Okay, you changed that. Okay, cool. There it is.
So here's what I'm going to do real quick. Let's go down here. And here is this is the May stats for the past. This goes back to 1970, so it's 56 years of data in May, and in those 56 years, May has been up 36 years and down 20. It's contributed 788 points to the SPX index overall in all those years. So it's been up 64% of the time, 64.29% of the time, and so what this is I have all the monthly data for all those years, up to now. I will add this. I'll start to add May data in here today, but what we have here, and this is the interesting thing. I'm going to skip up here to the annual stats. 75% of the years have been up years. In those 56 years, we've got 42 up and 14 down, that's 75 up. But here's one of the things I do, and this is actually I think pretty interesting. I look at all the months, but I look at the cumulative points throughout the year. So if, and we are right now, we just finished April. So April, and we're up on the year in April. So I just go here and I can do this. Oh, come on. Let's see here. Do this again. Filter by color. Green there. So when we're cumulatively up by April, which we were, you can see that by the end of the year, there's only been 2 years that were down years when you're cumulatively up by April, which means that through that period of time, we're up on the year, and we are up on the year this year. So I'm going to have to update. We don't know what's going on, this year. So here, but in all the other past years, when you're up by April cumulatively, it's only there's only been a couple of down years, and so I'm looking for this year to definitely be higher now. There's I looked at I look at a lot of stuff in here. You can get down here. And going back to May, when May, and I put this in here yesterday because I anticipated this will happen. When May takes out when the May high takes out the April high, which has happened 37 times in those years, even looking at it this way, let's go here. And I guess I should add that I think May is going to end up being a positive month this month. So I'll throw that in there right now because that's more than likely going to happen. So this is really, as you were just saying a little bit ago, it's really a strong market. So when that happens, there's only been a few years where there were down years, but as I say, when you get to the cumulative points, there's been only a couple of years that were down, and the if this ends up being an up year, which I think it's going to be, the average up year. We'll just look at this. And the average up year under similar conditions has been 19%. So, and I will have to look and see how much we're up now, but I have real high, much higher objectives targeted right now. And so,
Rich, can you share what those objectives are? Can you give the folks watching some precise numbers?
Well, yeah, I guess I can share my immediate objectives. Right now in the ES, we've just passed through these green zones here, and that gives a really high probability of my immediate objective for the ES right now is 74, 71, 88. So, I'm right now at this point in time, I'm like 90% confident that we'll make it there. I don't have a time frame on when it will be, but it will be. It should be rather quick because usually in here there's not much to stop it, and right now we're hitting my this. But the way this day is shaping up, it could easily go up here to this 2 standard deviation level. I wouldn't expect much more than that today, or we might stop here. I mean, but that's my immediate objective right here. I pointed this out in my room the other day, and in the NASDAQ, that's not my objective for the year. This is just an objective right now. By any means. Let's see. In the NASDAQ, I will kind of share that. My objective right now is 28,835, and I think we're going to make that. And once again, these are my standard deviation levels for the day. You can see that usually when they hit them, there's some kind of reaction or pause, hesitation, and right now we're there, and I have these other 2 intermediate objectives, which I don't think today we'll get past this 2 standard deviation level, but closing like here, the ES and the NQ will. These targets they're going to. And of course, my real love child right now is Intel. So, and it's about to cross 100. And let's see. Let me go here and grab that. Oh, I forgot to put this. Intel, let me go here and do this. What was that? I didn't do my 7581, 7581. Edit. I mean, this has just been a monster play right here. There's my standard deviation levels for Intel today. I think it's easily going to make this 101. The Intel might even make 105 today. And I've been long this stock and advocating buys for a long time, and I'm just sitting tight right now. And
so, Rich, in regards to Intel, so where do you think there would be an entry now if someone wanted to participate in that trade?
If they're willing to just be patient, you got to buy it right now. I mean, right this second. I really think this stock is going to 210 this year.
Okay, so what's it trading right now?
It's trading at 99.74. I think it could be 105 by the end of the day.
Okay, and if someone were to enter 99.74, where would their risk? Where would they have to? Obviously, we can't enter indiscriminately. So where's the risk marker? Where are they wrong? Where do they have to kind of peel off and or add or?
Well, this is what I say. I don't think you should trade this stock. I think you should just buy it and forget about it. I've been long since $20. I have to tell you, this is a career kind of trade for me. I'm up very serious money on this.
Okay, so what do you? So if someone were to enter now, where would they have to? So say that you're just tuning in right now and you're a new viewer and you're looking at Intel chart, but you can't just buy it and hold it, right? You have to be mindful and of your risk tolerance. How else could they participate in this trade? Let's share some ideas with them and see how we can get them active in it.
Well, I think it's going to break 100 real quick. I mean, if it breaks down $1.50 from here, if it went back down below this 1 SD level, this 97.83, if you're looking to trade it that short term, you could get out. I wouldn't get out at all. I would just add on if it went down. But I'm long so much, and I think that it should go to this 1 SD level today. And I actually think if it gets over 100, that it's probably going to go to 105, and it might do it today. It got to 99.80 the other night after the Google earnings. It got to 99, and it's just poised to really run up. This is a monster trade, and it's going a long way for a lot of reasons. And as I say, I've been in it for a long time, and last month was a very good month for me because Intel really started to run. And as I say, I've been in it since $20.
Right. So, so what are your thoughts here on ES? Where do you think it's headed? Where would you enter? Can you give the folks some levels that maybe they could trade off of?
Let's see. Let's make sure. ES. Let me get back here to ES. ES. My standard deviation levels. Well, here I'll show you my levels that I have today. My standard deviation levels for ES. It just hit this 1 SD level, and I said a while ago it almost always hesitates or at my SD levels, and that's exactly it's no different today. I think that a close.
What are those levels, Rich?
Pardon me.
What are those levels?
Standard I call it the SD levels. They're standard deviation levels. I'm back in my chart. If you see them here, 1 right. SD is 72.97.64. Here I can
72.97. Is that what I see?
Yeah, 72. Let me see. It's 72.97.64. That's my 1 SD level, and it's this blue line here. So when they hit those levels, there's usually a reaction, and it's no different here. There has been. Let's look at this on the 5-minute chart. So here's where we opened.
Okay.
You can see that it once it gets to this one SD level, I mean, this is, my SD levels are really good. I just have to say that, because it's you know, it hit that and it kind of violated it a little bit, and it's pulling back. I think we're going to close strong today. Today is not as I do some other work that I'm showing today is not as strong a day as, you know, some of the other days of the month. I look at the first 5 days of each month and the last 5 days of each month in another program. Statistically, today is actually like a 50-50 kind of day. This particular day of May, the way it lines up. So I'm not looking for as much in here, and it's, you know, it's hit this one SD, it's backing off. I don't think it's gonna. I think we're gonna close positive, but I don't know if it'll get through this level, or if it'll just hang here all day. I mean, I'm
So
just
that's 72.97. You can see we're actually coming off from that level. Good call there, Rich.
well, yeah. That, as I say, my SD levels, they were. Let's look at the Nasdaq and see what that did. Let's go here. Nasdaq is a wild beast, but you know, it got just above my one SD level. Now it's backing off a little bit. I mean, the S&P charts really well. You know, and the Nasdaq is because it's a lot more of a wild child. So you know, it'll exceed, or you know, and then pull back. But you know, we'll see. I mean,
The Nasdaq pulls back here. Where's the long entry? What area do you think we could see potential support or bounce? Or even maybe
I call this the BGL. It's a simple moving average. It works really well in the S&P. It's less. It's less correct in the Nasdaq, because it's a wild child. But right now, if I was going to buy this, I'd wait for it to dip down to this level here. And
what level is that?
That's coming in right now at 27,775 ish right now, right there, 27,775.
27,775.
As long as this remains above there, it's bullish. If you get a full bar close below this green line, then it would be negative. And the ES, it's pretty much the same story. It works a lot better in the ES. As long as you're trading above here, you want to stay long. And
trading above what level?
In the ES, it's 72.81 right now.
72.81. So as long as we're staying above 72.81, you think we can enter and scalp up to 72.97, if I heard correctly?
Yeah, I would wait until it got down to this line though to see what happens. You know, you see these old highs in here, but if it gets down to here and it holds, it will. What time is it? It's 10:34. So the first hour of the market's trading is just about over. Let's look at the other chart here real quick. Yeah, for a lot of reasons, I think right in here you can probably buy them with a tight stop. I mean,
what level is that?
It's right here. It's almost at 72.80.
72.80.
Yeah, it's 72.81. That's what that's at right now. And even if it dips below it, as long as it doesn't close below it, I think it'll probably bounce back up. I'm looking at this, and the bounce may come anytime now.
All right, great. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate the levels. I appreciate the targets. Always fun. Thanks for sharing those statistics as well. If you guys want to check out more of Rich's stuff, you can find him at handlestats.com. Like we said, Rich has a unique approach. He's approaching everything from a statistical perspective, using historical statistics. So feel free to check that out. And then, so we all know Rich is doing great on Intel. He gave us some levels on NQ. He gave us some levels on ES. So look out for that. We're now trading that lower portion. Rich, anything else to add?
Not really. I mean, here it's testing this BGL, and the Nasdaq's testing it too. If it holds, and this in this 5-minute time period, if it closes back above there, it should come back. If it closes below there, then you got to be on notice that it could reverse a little bit. This is a time thing. I just because it goes below a level, I don't stop myself out unless time and price are both giving me the signal. And right now, and if this 5-minute period it closes back above that green line, it's probably going back up. And
sweet.
And I'm looking at Intel's pulled back a little bit, and I think I had said like I can't remember 97.5 or whatever I said. We'll see if all this pulls back a little bit. I don't think today, according to one of my programs, is not as strong a day as what I think Monday will be. So this was a 50-50 day in my daily stuff. I look at all. I have back to 1980, so I have like almost 12,000 days worth of data that I look I look at the first 5 and last 5 days of the month, and I look at all the holidays and trading days around the holidays. I can look at any day of any month by the date and by the day of the week, and I have statistics on it all. If you'd like to see a little bit of that, I can show you some if you're interested.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get back to trading the ES though, Rich. But thanks for your contribution. Really appreciate it. We're only going to be on for about another 20 minutes, so we want to make sure we give the folks the levels going into the afternoon. Where the rubber meets the road for Rich is 71.81. If we can reclaim that price, then you can go up target 72.97. If I'm correct, right, Rich?
Yeah, and it just touched the VWAP in the Nasdaq or in the ES, and as I say, it's like we're gonna know in like 1 minute if it's gonna close above that level, that 72 80 81. Let's see where that's coming in, and if it closes back above there, it's probably going back up. Just went down, touched the VWAP. And it looks like it's going to do it. We got 30 seconds.
Yep.
The Nasdaq is certainly doing it. So
yeah, I like that level. I like I'm obviously I'm long leaning all day. I'm not interested in any short trades.
Yeah.
But we got the levels. We got the NQ levels from Rich. We got the ES levels for Rich. Guys, look out for Rich. He's going to be stopping in here more and sharing his levels, sharing his quant approach. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, Rich. Appreciate your support.
Okay, thank you, Manny. As I say, this looked like a decent close. I think it should rally, but if we get a full bar below here, then I throw in the towel on this for a little while. But it's flirting with it right now. Okay, I'll let you be, and we'll chat later.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Rich. Take care. Have a good one. Talk to you later.
Okay, thank you, Manny.
All right. Thanks for stopping by. We got Rich's quant levels. So look out for those. I know he's looking for a reclaim here. So let's be mindful of that. Put that tool in your toolbox. Hopefully David comes back on here and he gives us his perspective on going into the day, going into the afternoon, I should say. Or rather the lunchtime trade. Man, I had again. I don't think I'm drinking enough water. I don't know. I tend to try not to drink very much water before I go to bed so I can stay asleep. But and I woke up, I had to work out, and I forgot my water bottle, and I just chugged some water. But Reverie says, I don't think we're drinking enough, period. Well, that depends on what kind of day you're having, because if you're having a really good day, there's a reason to drink. If you're having a really bad day, there's a reason to drink. All right, watch this level here for some support. This is either a really good buy. We're testing VWAP right now, guys. 72.75. Here's where right here is where you want to try some if you're interested. Looking for 82 here on the first scale. Let's see if we get it. Boom, got that first target for 5 points off of the VWAP buy. That's 82.50. My next target is up at 87 for a 10-point scale. See if we get it. 87 quarter, actually. Here we go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Come on. Pay me. God dang it. Pay me. I'm not hanging out with ES all day to keep it company. I want my money. I'm hanging out with you guys to keep you company, though. I got a lot of love for my audience, for everybody watching. However, the ES is a tool. Keeps my wife and trips to Target, which is actually free time if you look at it strategically. But come on, don't stall out here. Let's go. What are you doing? No, let's go, baby. Go, 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 go. You don't want to stop here. No. No. Dang it. Don't be. Come on. Don't stop me out. Stops at break even. I'm not gonna give anything back on this. Just a scalp, right? Not holding this into infinity and beyond. Uh, this is that micro pullback here. Let's see if we can reclaim Rich's 81 level. That would be interesting. I don't like this candle print though, to be honest. 5 minutes, super micro time frame. But we're kind of just chopping here at lows, probably finding support. Maybe we retest VWAP again, second chance entry. We all know how much the ES loves its second chance entries. I call ES the home of the second chance entry because it always pulls back, right? You don't have to rush into ES. Like it's, I often say when I'm waiting for a pullback, right? The number one way for the ES to pull back is for me to buy it, right? As soon as I buy it, it always pulls back on me. All right, still looking for that 87 87 quarter. For the second scale. Let's go, baby. Come on, pay me. You know you want to. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. God dang it. It always stalls when I talk to it. So let's not do that anymore, Manny. Of course, right? Yeah. As soon as I start getting cocky about it, what does it do? Punches me right in the mouth. Typical ES. Hang tight, guys. Where are we at? 83.50. Allergy season around here, it's been terrible. All right, pulling back again. So no love on that target. No love. Looks like we're coming back down for a second test. Wasn't looking for that. I just got stopped out. Break up. Nope. Narrow miss. Let's go. Hold on. Holding on. That was way too close. 77 quarter. It's alive. The position's alive. I don't know how long it's going to last, though, so we'll see. You're moving in the wrong direction. Let's go, ES. Come on. Get it together. Fuck. This does not look good. Whatever. Good, good, good. I'm not going to stress it. I am just going to watch and see what happens here. That was really narrow, though, right? Like super narrow. Way too narrow for my liking. Come on, baby. 87 quarter. 87 quarter. Let's go. Give me that 10-point target. You know you want to. I mean, come on, ES. Think about all I do is talk about you all day. I dream about you. I talk about you RTH. I talk about you Globex session. Show me some love. Yeah, we can't stay up. We can't get above that. We need to get above that 85 right now. And it seems like we just went 84.50 and pulled back. Got to get over that 9-period moving average. That's 85. Reclaim that. It's game on to the upside. Right? What's up, folks on YouTube watching? Let me know. Do you think we get over this 85 right now or not? Let me know. Drop a comment. Come on, root for my position. I laid out the trade for y'all. I hope y'all took it. Manage it well. Looking for 87 quarter for a fill. We got the first one at 82.50. Let's go. Come on, baby. Nope, not that way. Not that yet. All right. I'm going to lose my shit here in a minute. Like this is that point in the trade where like I'd probably just walk out of the room if I wasn't with y'all. It's like I'm looking at the screen so closely on a scalp trade. Like I'm getting snot on it because of my terrible allergies. If you guys checked out the execution clock today on my feed, you'll know what we're looking for here. We are square in that window, in the tail end of that window, actually. So that's why this trade makes sense for me.
Hey, Manny, can you hear me?
And for you folks watching on socials, on X, on YouTube, wherever you're tuning in from, do me a favor, drop a comment if you like what you see. If not, let me know how I can improve it for y'all. The objective of this show is, as always, real-time technical analysis, live futures trading. We're trying to help folks make some money on a daily basis, develop the mindset that drives consistent profitability. If we're getting that right, drop a like. If we're getting it wrong, let us know what you'd like to see. Your feedback is crucial to this. We're just getting underway. We're trying to improve it every day. We have, we're still actively working on the tech stack. So, there's some clever, fun stuff coming out. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. I'm super proud of what we're building here. I mean, this is just the bare bones version of it right now. I'm so excited in what we have coming down the pike. But feedback is crucial, right? If I suck, let me know. I am not thin-skinned. If you tune in and it's cringe, let me know. I want to know that too. What's the over-under? Is the high of the day in or not, guys? Let me know. The guys in the Pitbull chat, let me know. Come on, drop a like for me, please. Oh, Jesus, that sounds a little bit desperate. Why am I sounding like oh, man. Jesus Christ. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is going on? Mediate out overnight, up all night, high of the day print in the first 60 to 90 high satisfies my long-standing target for N5 up. Interesting. What was that target, me, JT? $72.67.24. That's not like SPX. 72.67.24. Let's see. So 72.67. We went to 7, about 33. And for the folks trading ES, right? 72. I'll just math real quick. Always have to help folks out for you. Seventy-two sixty-seven 24 is equivalent to 72.96 on ES for today. Stay up here. Sorry about that, guys. Oh man, a bunch of people dropped off because my screen froze. I'm not mad at. There we go. Yep. I said I wouldn't buy it, so it's bouncing. All right, we're bouncing, guys. As soon as I say I'm not buying them, it's probably your signal, dude. Guys, maybe that's it's going to bounce in my face. It's going to bounce right in my face. It's going to do what it does, right? Like I said, whenever I'm waiting for a pullback, the only way it ever pulls back is if I buy it. So, yeah, so sometimes I'll buy a micro and see if it works. I'm literally, I can't, I am not lying. It's that time where you're just like frustrated. You get frustrated with the day and just like, fuck, why is it not, why is it not letting me in? Yesterday was kind of like that though, right? So, like, let's review yesterday. So I don't know if y'all remember, but if you tuned in, but so early on in the stream, I was I was long. It was 63. I remember the price. So somehow it didn't stick with me. So I was long 71.63 quarter, right? I got a 5-point scale out of it, and then it price retraced and it knocked me back out. And I didn't want to take it a second time, right? I didn't want to fall into that loop. But had I not taken the first and I got the second, I would have literally caught the whole move, right? I would have been in the runner all day. And guys have traded around me for a long time know that I'll just hold it all day. And then it made this move, right? It was just straight up, right? And with every higher tick, I didn't buy it here, didn't buy it there. In full disclosure, I was looking for this, right? I wanted this to break. Like at that point, it was just this, but I wanted this high to break, and then I wanted this to break for the long entry. So I didn't get in until like, uh, crap. was it? Shit, I forgot. It wasn't cheap. I didn't buy it at the Lowe's. I remember because it's like I kind of reluctantly bought it, but it was it was pretty strong, so it was a bit easy. Let me see. When did I? Uh, yeah. So look, this is the trend line break was right here, 72. I had 72.01, and then I held that. So I got five. I didn't take a 5 point first. I took a 10 point first. I got a little bit greedy there. Took a 10 point first, 20 point second, and then a 30 point third. And then the fourth contract, I think I just closed it out at like 13 points. No, no, no. Uh, it was like I remember I covered it right at the like precisely the wrong time. On this dip right here is where I covered it. On this dip right here, like I probably covered it at the low. That's how bad it was. But I did get that 30 point scale out of it, and that was the second 30 point trade of the day, so I was pretty happy about that. Reverie points out, Manny, while we have a lull in the action, here's one to prove your point about having a plan, and even if it's a mediocre one, it's better than no plan. David and I have both had banker mornings trading the same thing, CL on opposite sides of the trade. Yeah, listen. So I have a theory about trade plans, right? So if everyone if everyone understood, everyone pretty much understands the benefit of having a trade plan. And so everybody understands the importance of having a trade plan. And you know, every, and the problem is that I think that once that trade plan doesn't work, you kind of lose faith in it, right? And what I tell, I have a couple of guys I coach. What I tell them is, first we have to develop the habit, right? It has to become a part of your process. And you understand that the trade plan is not going to work. The true benefit in having a trade plan is almost not really like, design where it get in, get out. It's about the process of generating that plan, right? Get ideas, you have this structure in your head, like, okay, here's where I want to get long, here's where I want to get short, etc. Here's where I'm wrong, here's where I'm right. And that process, it doesn't it doesn't materialize. It has to callous almost in your brain. So if you abandon having a trade plan, then you start, winging it every day. You don't develop that mindset. And a lot of times, folks abandon the process and just start winging it every day, and don't really reach that point where they understand the benefit of having a trade plan is really more about the process and preparing it and the tertiary benefits of that. All trade, there's some like so. I draft a trade plan every day. People in our private community know that. Uh, is a I take a lot of pride in it because I mean, last week I had the low of the day 3 times. I had the high of the day one day, and on last Wednesday, I had the high and the low of the day as a short buy and a resistance sell. Smoked it, and the process of having that trade plan, and you can check that out on my X feed, Manny underscore trends. Uh, the importance of having that plan, crafting that plan day in and day out. It's like I said, it's about massaging those charts. It's about that process and preparing it and understanding that, yeah, there are some days it's not going to work, right? There are some days it's not going to work. So here, I'll give you some insight, right? So typically my trade plan is like more or less, I wouldn't say it's a rule, but what I would say is it's more for the morning session. right? So morning session could be wild and volatile, and you could easily lose your way in the volatility. And so for that morning, because I tend to be not a very good trader in the open, I needed some type of what I wanted to do when the volatility kicked. And so, but then by the afternoon, my read typically gets better of the days, and I can, there's more structure, and I can get an understanding for the day, and then I can trade around that. But for the morning, it's vital. You can't expect the plan to work every day. But over time, your trade plan will improve, and your ability to execute that plan will improve, which is really a big deal, a big part of it, right? Ability to execute that plan and the process, the thinking that develops in developing it, in writing the plan out. When I started out writing a plan, I'm glad I stuck to it because my mentor wouldn't work with me if I didn't have a trade plan. And so I wanted to, I didn't really like doing it, but I did it because I wanted to work with her. And the process of developing that plan day in and day out, I understood over time, then it started to set in. I was like, and then I remember the first time I joined a trade plan, it was like three Microsoft Word pages, just way too long. And then I learned how to simplify it into something that was executable. And so over time, I look back on some of my trade plans from I have a big file of them going back to 2015 and how it's evolved over the years. And it's pretty cool to watch. It's pretty cool to see. Jeff Z asked Manny, what lot size do you normally trade in ES? Never less than 2. I'm typically going in with 2, adding 1. So if I go in with 2 and it's immediately against me, I'm not going to add to it. But if I see it starting to work, it's starting to move in my favor, I'll try to add 1 within 3 to 5 points of that entry. So you'll always hear me having multiple entries, right? I was long, like earlier, I was long 72, 71. And then I think I added at 73, 75. So I'll always add quickly if it's working. I don't want to add, like if I was long 72, 70, I don't want to add after it's in my favor 5 points past my first scale. I don't want to do that because then I'm going to have a shitty attitude. So being mindful of that. And then if it's working, it's going good, depending on, how I've done that day. I'm typically I'll max out at the 7 or 8, right? If I have 10 on, I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm probably not seeing the tape correctly. I'm probably, in my feelings, so to say. So I don't want to do that. But my happy place is 4 to 6. I can manage 4 to 6 really well, and maintain my head about me, maintain my composure, and make good decisions. That's what it's all about, right? I like 6 a lot because, like, just historically, when I go to 6, you know, when I look back at the statistics, the trade worked. It worked really well, and I'm glad that I sacked up and added to it. That I took it 6 because had I not, I wouldn't have made this. So yesterday, I think in that second trade at 72.01, I had gotten up to 5. Yeah, 'cause I had a 10 point, 20 point, 30 point, and then the last 2, I stopped out at it was, like I said, I stopped out at the worst possible time. So I think it was less than 20 points. Uh, hopefully that plays in. I don't micromanage the exits as much. Like, I know if it's working or not. Like, I'm not trying to be out to the tick. The trade works, I may get 17 and 20. But I'm not sitting there stressing it. Yeah. So I closed that trade. Uh, at the bottom of this bar is 230, man. So actually, I got I think I got like 20. I think I closed those last two for 20 points. It was, it was. I think the I think the total net was just under 4,500. I had everybody talks about their career trade, right? Um I had a career trade it was like in 2023, and in that day, it was a total net of like 77, and I was so long, dude. I was like, I think at one point, I think I was long 20 contracts, and I just held them. Interestingly enough about that was, like, as soon as I put on the position, I got super stressed out about it, and but so the stress came from, I was telling you, "You can't touch it. You can't touch it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't be a little, sack up." So, dude, like, I had to leave the room, and I left the room, and I was watching on my phone, and then I actually put my head down. I think the stress got me so much I fell asleep. Oh, man. It really worked out well, but here's the thing, right? If I had fallen asleep and I stopped out, then at least I rested. At least I was rested. At least I was rested. So, interestingly enough, about Wednesday's drawdown, right? You know what was the one commonality about Wednesday? Regular sweep. I didn't have I'm telling you, dude, that works. That's where the hat that day was where the hat superstition was born. So sometimes I forget. All right. So obviously we have a low at 8 a.m. If you guys were following the execution clock, you know what we're expecting next. Uh, also know that what we were anticipating played out really well. There's kind of the chart where I track that stuff. I track it every day. Um, Yeah, this thing looks like it's losing momentum up here, guys. All right, guys, it's 11:30. So that's going to be a wrap for today's morning live stream. The levels we discussed are the prices that I'm focused on. Remember, stay disciplined, stay focused, timing matters, be patient, let the trade come to you. Now react, don't predict price action, be patient, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Please do me a favor if you're on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you like what we're doing here, drop any comments and suggestions. We can improve the show. We're going to continue to build this out. We're going to continue to add value. Look out for some interesting tools coming next week. Check out our channel. There's one of those going on right now. If you look at our Pitbull Traders YouTube channel, you'll see that there's a live stream giveaway event going on scheduled. And if you like that, hit that notification button. Again, like I said, we're doing a lot of cool stuff. We're going to have bringing a lot of value. You know, the big talk about, within our orbit has been, how much of the institutional grade tools that we use on a daily basis do we really want to give away? And the focus is if we can add value, if they can help traders get better, we want to do that, right? Kind of without giving it farm. But again, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Thanks. See you again soon.